Recently I made a video titled The Worst Level in Every Mario Game, which turned out to be one of the fastest growing videos on my channel, so I knew I had to create a follow-up. Now honestly, finding those terrible levels was a lot harder than it seems, as Nintendo really has a knack of creating some very unique and interesting stages that go down as the all-time best when compared to any other platforming game. Now if you guys don't know, my name is Copycat, and welcome to the best level in every Mario game. Just like the last video, the choices on this list can be subjective, so if there's any of your favorites that I left out, then please let me know in the comments below. Also, if you haven't yet, please subscribe to my channel while hitting that bell button to stay notified when I upload new videos. Although there are many classic levels to choose from in the original Super Mario Bros. Game, the best in this one has to be the first World 1, Level 1. This is where Nintendo really put their name on the map and transitioned from a good arcade game company to a premier video game company. This level has a perfect balance of enemies, platforms, and when combined with the secret sub-area gives new players a perfect idea of how the game operates moving forward. Of course nowadays almost everyone could play this level blindfolded, but I'll always remember the first time I played it, reaching the flagpole at its end and feeling fresh and accomplished with what I just achieved. Out of the three original Super Mario Bros. Games, I would say Super Mario Bros. 2 was the one I played the most, and I always thought level 4-1 was the best. There's just something very satisfying about using Toad on the icy platforms to dodge the flurry enemies, and having to end each section using the rocket ship was just the icing on the cake. Now this is a relatively short level when compared to others in the game, but I'll always remember the confusion I had when I first encountered the Shy Guys riding on the auto bombs. This enemy is something that definitely needs to be revisited in a new Mario game. In terms of choosing a best level, I have to say Super Mario Bros. 3 was the hardest in the franchise, as almost all of them come across as instant classics. However, if I had to pick one, it would have to be the World 2 Quicksand level. That's because this particular level introduces Mario fans to the angry sun, who descends from the sky from time to time attacking you. This was a huge surprise to everyone when it first happened to them, and oddly enough, the sun doesn't make another appearance until Super Mario Maker. The best level in the Japanese version of Super Mario Bros. 2, or the Lost Levels in North America, has to be World 3, Level 4. Not only is this level the best in the game, but it's also one of the hardest, as it has a very interesting mechanic of sending the player back to the start if they choose the wrong path. With some trial and error, this isn't too hard to figure out, but I just remember playing this one for the first time as a young kid, getting very confused thinking that my game was glitched out. Back in the day, it actually wasn't released in North American markets as it was deemed too hard, but nowadays it just comes off as a fun challenge. In Super Mario Land, its last level is by far its best, as it puts Mario in the cockpit of a plane and gave the player an opportunity to defeat the final boss while airborne. This level has absolutely everything. Parts that are hard, challenging platforming, and overall in its entirety it's just tons of fun. I hope Nintendo eventually decides to revisit this flying mechanic in a later game, as I feel like that's something missing from modern Mario games. Super Mario World was another game that was hard to choose the best level from, but in the end I settled on Special World Awesome as it just comes across as, well, awesome. Almost every platform in this level is covered in ice. Koopas kick their shells at you, Bonsai Bills try to hit you, and Cheep Cheeps fly towards you from the bottom of the screen. You have to constantly keep moving to avoid the erratic and almost unpredictable ways enemies come hurling towards you. When you finally beat it, you'll definitely feel a lot of relief and satisfaction. Even though none of the levels in Super Mario Land 2, 6 golden coins are huge standouts, the Pumpkin Zone is probably the game's best because of its eerie feel. There's a haunted cemetery stage, a haunted schoolhouse stage, and one that takes place in a witch's hut before you have to face her as the final boss. Levels in this game don't really equate to much of a challenge, but at least the fun, spooky theme makes this zone a blast to play. Super Mario 64 is jam-packed full of interesting levels, from the classic Bob-omb Battlefield to the extremely trippy Tick-Tock Clock. However, the absolute best level in this masterpiece of a game has to be Big Boo's Haunt. This level is very unique even down to its entrance, as it's the only one in the entire game that isn't accessed by a painting or a pipe. To get into it, you have to ground pound a very specific Boo who's holding the entire level within it. Within the level itself, there are two parts: a shed off to the side that leads to the basement, and the main haunted mansion, which is basically a maze full of hidden rooms, spooky objects, and boos who want to kill you. There's also an incredible boss fight against the Big Boo on top of the balcony, which is no easy feat. One of the weakest things about Super Mario Sunshine that almost everyone agrees on are the levels. But there is one really good one in Noki Bay. This level is breathtakingly beautiful with some of the best combination of open world Mario 3D platforming, fun puzzle like sub areas, and an eel boss fight which is incredibly creative as you don't actually fight it, but you clean its teeth. This level is a pleasant surprise in this game, as at first glance it looks like it would be a disappointment, but the more you play it, the more you discover hidden areas within it. If they ever make a sequel to Super Mario Sunshine, they definitely have to ensure Noki Bay makes another appearance. In New Super Mario Bros., level 86 is definitely one of my favorites, as you have to travel through a volcano. This results in a very fun stage with great platforming sections, with it also being suspenseful due to the rising lava. In one section of the course, you can use springs that will send Mario spinning upwards to the next platforms. When you finally get to the pipe, Mario will use it as a cannon and he'll be sent outside of the volcano. Here you can use the spring to the left to reach the top of the flagpole, ending the level. This is definitely how Mario games should be made. I remember during my first ever playthrough of Super Mario Galaxy, I was absolutely blown away by the Freeze Flame Galaxy, which blends aspects of icy and fire levels into one. To start things off, surprisingly, you can actually ice skate through this level, which is extremely satisfying, and on top of all that, you can get the Ice Flower power-up, which freezes lava or water below Mario. This leads to a really cool boss fight against Baron Burr, where you have to use a combination of platforming and skating to reach him. There's also a trip to the planet's core that has very similar elements to Lethal Lava Land in Super Mario 64 and brings back some good feels. However, by far my favorite part has to be the race against Cosmic Mario and the very last section of the level, as in both you have to use the skating mechanic to move across the moving platforms and reach the stars. The last section is even harder as it adds the twist of using the Ice Flower to make this great level even better. New Super Mario Bros. Wii is jam-packed full of fun and creative levels, but I'd have to say that my favorite one is World 7-6. This world is very intriguing, as instead of using platforms to traverse the stage, you actually use the backs of parabeetles. There's also a really cool cloud cover effect, making some of the platforming a bit more difficult. This level is a very interesting change from the usual that really makes it that much better. Super Mario Galaxy 2 was filled with some absolutely amazing levels, but none were better than the Cosmic Cove. This level really changes every notion you've ever had about Mario underwater courses. And what I really like the most is that getting around underwater is a lot easier, as now you just have to use the green shell to traverse. This level is full of unique sections, including a very meta 2D part which feels a lot like their inspiration for future 3D titles. I love this style of Mario platforming, and the unwillingness to hold your hand makes it just that much better. The very best level in Super Mario 3D Land has to be the World 8 Final Bowser Castle. This level starts off with a moving platform section where you have to dodge a series of fireballs and spewing lava, which can be very difficult if you don't have the Tanuki Mario power-up. Once you reach the next section, you just need to blast Mario out of a cannon a few times until you finally reach the Bowser boss door. This Bowser battle is a bit different than the others in this game, as you'll have to do some multi-level platforming and outrun Bowser towards that final switch. Now this is exactly how a final Mario level should play out. Now, even though New Super Mario Bros. 2 is seen as a huge disappointment to many Nintendo fans, it still has a few good levels, especially World S1. This level is cool and different as it's almost made entirely of breakable blocks, with various P-switches laid out throughout it, making the stage have secrets galore. Now, there really wasn't too much innovation in this pretty tame game as Nintendo opted to play it safe, but there are a few aspects of it that deserve to be talked about. In New Super Mario Bros. U, there are many creative levels that deserve to be in this video, but in the end, I'm gonna have to pick World 5-4 as it's the very best. This level is straight up trippy and looks more like an oil painting that Mario has to platform through rather than in a video game. It's not an overly difficult level, but there are a few boos that will give you a bit of trouble, and below you is mostly poison water, so you'll have to jump from pipe to pipe. This gets especially weird when the pipe starts to move. Pretty cool, huh? Super Mario 3D World is actually home to one of the funniest levels in any Mario game, titled the Great Goal Pole. When you start the level, it immediately looks like you're already at its end, as the goal pole is there waiting for you. However, once you approach it, it actually begins to run away and hilarity ensues as you need to chase it down using the boost pads just to keep up. Now you can end this level whenever you do catch up to it, but there are a few secrets farther within it, so be a bit patient. It was very hard to pick the best kingdom in an amazing game like Super Mario Odyssey, but after some deliberation, I'll have to give that title to the absolutely expansive Sand Kingdom. Never before have I seen so many secrets jam-packed into one place, but it doesn't feel overcrowded as there are many cool sub-areas, and the kingdom has many levels to it as there's a Tossed Arena runes, Jaxi runes, and the giant inverted pyramid to explore. I hope Nintendo decides to make an even bigger kingdom when they create Super Mario Odyssey 2, and I can't wait to play it. Alright, so that's gonna be it for today's video, guys. I really hope you did enjoy this one. If you did, please leave a like, comment below if I left any of your favorite levels out, and of course subscribe to my channel. Just a little heads up, next week's video is gonna be about the top 10 hardest side quests in Zelda Breath of the Wild. And if you guys haven't yet, please follow my Instagram at Copycat Gamer, where I upload cool clips, things that happen to me when I play video games, and some really interesting collector's items. I hope you guys all have a good day, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!